So, guys, I think what we're going to do to help you guys with figuring out moats is we're going to give examples of some of the kinds of moats that are ones that we consider. There might be other kinds, and if you can think of any that we have left out that are good ideas for moats, feel free to let us know. So I'll start off with the brand moat. This is a brand like when people love what they got before, and they know that the next time they'll get the same, and they love the company because of that consistency. It builds a brand. You know that when you buy a Coke, it's going to taste like the last 100 times, and you love it. So Coke is a brand, McDonald's is a brand. What are your thoughts on that moat, Eugene?
Apple as an example as well. So when the person and the customer is really tighten up to the brand that they do not want to change it.
I like that. I never thought of it that way. That's really helpful that they wouldn't change it. I love that. So the next one we're going to discuss is the toll bridge moat. This is when you can only get that product one place. There's no competitors allowed. If you don't pay, you can't play. So that's like if you're in Sacramento and you want electricity or gas, there's only one company. You don't get a choice. It's PG&E. So utility companies are often a brand mode. If you want that thing, there's only one of them. That's the switching mode. Oh, sorry. That's the toll bridge mode. If there's only one way to get it, that's the toll bridge. A great example would be if you've got something that's 500 tons of coal, for example, and you need to move it from one side of the country to the other. There are no other choices besides the train. There is no other choices. And so, you can't fill up cars and drive them through. You can't fill up trucks. It's going to be way too expensive. That's the toll bridge mode. What's your thoughts on the toll bridge
Another
mode?
example can be, as I thought it correct, American Tower Corp. So this is the telecommunication company, and they just own different bridges, I would say. All these parts are for the particular territory. So if you want to enter this particular territory, you go only to them. And they just know all their competitors, and they just do a couple of deals because they understand that this is the closed market. Not everyone trades in it. And they completely fine with that.
Now, just remember, guys, the toll bridge mode, it's not when the company has a monopoly. It's when the company has a monopoly because nobody else is allowed to come in. They're the only ones that have that right. So that would be like the train is a great example because you can't lay new tracks across the country. All the tracks that are ever going to be are pretty much there already. And the people who have the rights to that train track, it's their way or the highway. There's like no other option.
Example can be like the distribution and licensing agreement, like with the Coke, because when you go as a bottler, you have the particular right to be on a particular area. And this licensing deal brings you kind of the monopoly in the territory, even though you are in the part of different business.
A great way to picture it, a good example, which doesn't actually exist, but imagine there's a small town and the mayor of that town gives the laundromat, the one laundromat that opens, gives them exclusive rights and says, nobody else may ever open another laundromat in this town. Now that is a toll bridge mode. If you want to have your laundry done by someone, it's going to be them. And so that's the kind of thing you want to look for that particular mode. The next one is a really interesting one. It's called the switching mode. Once you're using them, you must always use them because switching is too hard or too expensive or impossible. And companies like that are Apple, IBM servers, Cisco, even companies that handle your accounting sometimes. It's very hard to move the data across, especially if your whole company is using a particular telephony system. You're kind of hooked in for life because it's just so expensive to switch, or so challenging or impossible. If you've got all your graphic designs have been done on your computer using an Apple product, because you're on an Apple computer, you want to switch to a Microsoft computer, and those files are useless. So it's impossible to switch if you've been in that ecosystem for long enough. So the switching mode is really strong and it prevents your customers from leaving.
Even though it is not so impossible, but it will take so much time. And such modes can be found in completely different spheres, starting from the building, insurance, IT, and other businesses as well.
Every mode we talk about, there are lots of examples in most industries, or some modes are more common in some industries, but there's basically you're looking for that, what makes your company that you want to invest in unassailable, that nobody's going to come in and steal all their market share. You don't want any risk in your investments. You want to know that it's pretty safe. And as soon as that mode is broken or getting weak, just getting weaker, you need to get out of there. So the next mode is the secrets mode. Is there anything they do that is protected by a secret, like a trade secret, or a patent, proprietary technology, patents on certain drugs, formulas, technical patent on a piece of technology? So companies like Pfizer is a great example. Their entire mode really, who cares what brand of stuff you're buying? You need the medication. They're the only ones with the formula, and it's a big secret that nobody can figure out. They've got the patent on it and that kind of thing. No one can produce it. The secrets mode is super strong.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think that this is not 100% great mode for me, because all we know that patent can be disrupted over the certain period of time. Most huge companies spend a lot of money on R&D stuff. They do all this research every time, producing new technologies and new stuff. In my point of view, I would not only count on this particular mode. I will definitely look at the combination, and this mode can be kind of the plus.
I would say a good example of the secrets mode in action would be the patents that Tesla has. They've done a lot of things that are completely unique, and it's very hard for competitors to now use that technology they've invented without licensing it from them and just adding to their bottom line. Or if they were to do it without permission, that company would just get sued by Tesla. Those patents are in place for a long time and they're pretty defensible.
Yeah.
I think it's a strong mode, but again, every mode can be broken or weakened, and you need to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I agree that this can be broken, but the combination is really powerful. And another example is Micron. So, for example, they have a lot of patents, 50,000 plus. And even though you can disrupt all of them, it will take you so much time that they will go ahead of you, and the technology will go ahead of you. So this combination with the time and a huge number of patents is really powerful.
For those that don't know, tell them very briefly what product is Micron's main product.
So Micron is the only one US-based producer of chips and memory. So they are in the semiconductor business. And there are only 3 companies in the world. 2 of them are in Taiwan, and 1 company is in the US. And this company is really protected with a huge moat.
To be fair, I think that there's not only 3 companies that do this, but there are only 3 that have any real market share. So the guy in 4th place and 5th place, they got no part of the market. Effectively, there's only 3 players. But there are other companies, they're just so small that they almost don't exist in comparison to the top 3. I understand why you say there's only 3. But
yeah, and even though there are a lot of small companies on the market, these companies are usually bought by the biggest competitors because they need to be ahead of the industry.
So that's it for the secrets modes. The next one I know is one of your favorites, is I call it the production cost mode, but there's other names for it, like the price mode, some people call it. But I think mentioning that is the production cost is more important than mentioning price mode. People will get the wrong idea if we call it a price mode, like they'll think that the price of the product is important, but it's not. It's the price of production. He who produces at a lower cost can lower their prices. They don't have to. They can beat out the competition with bigger profit margins at the same prices. They can beat out their competition by lowering the prices lower than the competition can. There's a lot you can do if you're the low cost producer, are they able to sell their product for the cheapest price because they have the lowest production cost? Like, for example, Walmart is a good example of that. This can be due to having a unique resource, unique access, economies of scale, and many other reasons. If you are able to produce something like, say, aluminium or another product cheaper, if you can mine it cheaper, or if you can create it cheaper, or buy it from someone else at a price no one else can beat, it makes you the production cost moat. So that's my thoughts on that. What do you make of that?
The greatest companies are those who can decrease the prices for their end customer by decreasing their cost of production. So this is the same with Amazon. So when they became a low-cost producer with the marketplace and their servers, they made prices lower for end customers, and this caused more demand, and they became more popular among others, and they get more market share as a result. This is the end of this episode, guys. We will continue next time, and if you have any questions, please write them down in the comments below, and see you next episode.